Every single day you're doing hundreds, maybe thousands of these tiny little things online. A like here, a share there, and you probably think they're totally harmless, right? Just little digital whispers into the void. But what if each of those clicks is actually a command, an instruction, that has a hidden cost? In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you how your seemingly neutral reactions are anything but.
You're scrolling. You see something that hits you right, and you tap the heart. Or maybe something makes you furious, and you fire off a comment. It feels personal, like a contained emotion that just begins and ends with you. We instinctively see it as a completely harmless act. I mean, at its core, it just feels like your thing. Like a digital sigh or a nod or maybe a shout into the void. It really doesn't feel like we're doing anything to the world around us. But here's the thing. That's a total misunderstanding of how this digital world actually works. Okay, so here's the big mental shift we need to make. That click, that share, that angry emoji is not just you whispering into the void. It is an active input into this gigantic global system. It's an instruction. And well, every instruction has consequences. So what's really going on under the hood of that little click? Let's break down the mechanics that are hidden from view. You might be shocked to see just how much power that simple reaction of yours really has.
All right, maybe the best way to think about this is to stop seeing a reaction as just a feeling and start seeing it for what it is, digital energy. You are literally feeding energy into the system every single time you engage with something.
And that definition is so important. See, a digital reaction, it isn't just you talking back. It's an order. It's a command. That like, that share, that comment, it's a little packet of energy that tells the algorithm, hey, pay attention to this. Do something with it. And the process itself? It's super simple, but kind of sneaky. Okay, so first you react, right? You like, you share, whatever. Then, step 2, the system measures that energy. How many clicks, how fast they're coming in. And finally, step 3, based on that reading, the system goes, oh, people like this, let's show it to more people. It's a feedback loop, and a really powerful one.
Okay, so if reaction is energy, you've got to ask, right? What kind of energy does the system like best? Does it care about truth or nuance or maybe some thoughtful debate? Yeah, the answer to that is a hard no.
And this quote, man, it just nails it. The algorithms running your feed, they're not there to check facts. They couldn't care less about what's true. They are just response meters. Their only job is to find what gets the biggest spike of energy and then pour gasoline on it. So let's look at how this actually plays out. You've got 2 paths here. On one side, you have calm, thoughtful, nuanced content. It gets a few clicks, but the energy signal is weak and the system basically hits the brakes. But what about something extreme? Something that makes you angry or shocked? That gets a huge reaction, a really strong signal, and the system just slams on the gas. And this chart really shows you what happens. We are not talking about a small difference here. It's not even close. The boost that extreme content gets is just massive. It's exponential. The system isn't making a choice about good or bad. It's just a machine making a mathematical choice, rewarding whatever gives it the most energy. So, what happens to us when we're swimming in this environment all day long? An environment that's constantly rewarding these intense, immediate reactions. Well, it starts to change how we behave. Slowly, quietly, but for sure.
Just think about it for a second. When you're constantly hit with stuff designed to provoke you, that muscle for just stopping and thinking gets worn down. Reaction isn't a choice anymore. It becomes our default setting. We see, we feel, we click, boom, boom, boom. That space for thinking just shrinks and shrinks.
And you see, once our reaction is the fuel, the system's whole game changes. It doesn't need to convince you of anything. It doesn't care if you believe the stuff you're seeing. It just needs to keep you activated, to keep you feeding it energy. Your outrage is just as good as your happiness. It's all just fuel.
So what is this machine, this perpetual activation machine? What does it actually create in the world? Well, it powers division, right? Because nothing gets a reaction like a good fight. It powers speed, because who has time to think? And it powers this constant escalation, because what shocked you yesterday is boring today. The lever of all our reactions. It drives the whole thing.
And this all leads us to the final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, it might be the most important part. What happens when this machine we've been feeding becomes so powerful that it just runs on its own?
I want you to really let that sink in for a moment. This system, the one we've been feeding with every single click, it learns, and it starts to run all by itself. It keeps looking for and boosting whatever gives it the most energy, no matter what we intended. So all the stuff we see online, the crazy arguments, the weird trends, we're not really choosing them anymore. They're just the product of the machine.
Which leaves us with a pretty heavy question, doesn't it? If all our little reactions have built this massive system that now kind of runs on autopilot, a system that gets stronger on division and escalation, what's our actual role in it anymore? Are we really the ones in control? Or are we just the fuel that keeps the whole thing running?